Winterization or freeze protection of piping, tanks, and instrumentation is a common requirement in many process plants, particularly those with significant systems in the plant that are exposed to harsh weather.
Freeze protection is the application of heat to pipes, tanks, or vessels to offset the heat that's being lost through the thermal insulation. Heat always transfers from hot to cold.
Many times, the risk of a freeze-up is not considered thoroughly because the result may not be critical to plant operation or to personnel safety. Examples of such applications include drinking water, drain lines, and effluent systems. However, many other winterization systems can be critical to personnel safety and plant operation. For example, a major chemical company in North Carolina in the United States once suffered a freeze-up on an electrically heat-traced boiler level sensing instrument line. This small problem cascaded into a boiler shutdown, which, due to the significant steam tracing within the facility, led to a freeze-up of the entire plant. After being down for 2 weeks, almost $5 million in total losses had occurred. Contrary to popular belief, heat tracing is not generally intended to increase process temperatures. Instead, it is used to keep a pipe or vessel from cooling down. The heat input is designed to offset the heat lost through the thermal insulation and maintain thermal equilibrium during the minimum ambient conditions.
Thermal equilibrium is the balance between the heat that's being lost through the thermal insulation and the heat that's being returned to the system via a heat source. Typically in our application, this heat source is a heat tracer.
Many refineries and chemical plants still select low-pressure steam tracing for their winterization. However, most new freeze protection system installations rely on electrical heat tracing. The basic components of an electrical heat trace system include the heat trace circuit, an electrical power connection kit, optional temperature control device, and the thermal insulation. Common methods to control the freeze protection system can be with a manual on-off device, such as the circuit breaker, or an automatic control via ambient sensing thermostat, which could be connected to control a contactor and thereby the entire electrical distribution panel. Regardless of the heat tracing method, one of the most critical components of any heat tracing system is the thermal insulation. Due to the tendency to have the heat tracing and insulation assigned to separate trades or contractors, some performance concerns can be experienced unless the personnel responsible for both areas are adequately trained. For additional information on freeze protection solutions or other applications that require heat trace, visit us on the web at www.thermon.com.